Hello folks. So this is the continuation of previous videos where we learned about detecting the outliers. So this is the part third of the previous videos, and we learned about detecting outliers using box plot, scatter plot, mathematical techniques like z-score and interquartile range for outlier detection. Now in this video I will be covering the topic of how to handle outliers and correct them from data cleaning perspective. Okay. So folks, this is Nitin, who is determined to democratize the artificial intelligence, big data, Hadoop and cloud computing to the world. And with this aim, I will be creating the associated content and going to publish the same periodically and made it available for you. So folks, you can subscribe to my channel to get the latest updates regarding the hottest technologies of the 21st century. So we detected the outliers as a part of pre-processing step. Now the question arises how to deal with these outliers. That is, either we should remove them or correct them in order to make our data appropriate for machine learning models. And in the previous section, we learned how to detect the outliers using z-score. And here we will use a z-score to remove the outliers by filtering them. So this way we will clean the data. So this is the first method, and the second method which we are going to use is interquartile range, which we calculated in the previous videos. So let's start with the z-score method, and before proceeding further, let's make a copy of the Boston data frame, right? The Boston data set which we loaded earlier. So we'll make a copy of that data set in order to be on safer side in case anything goes wrong with the data set. Okay, so let's do it. So we will name this data frame as Boston clean, and let's store the value of Boston. And then after that we will kind of be filtering the values or the outliers basically. So the way we will do it is so Boston clean equals to Boston underscore clean, and then the solid brackets we will specify the filter basically. So any value which is less than 3, and when I'm saying value, I'm talking about the z-score. So any z-score value which is less than 3 will be contained in this particular data frame. Okay, and the outliers will be filtered out of this. Okay, so let's do it. So z-score is less than 3. Okay, and then we will specify what we are trying to do here is we are trying to filter out the rows, right? So what we are going to do is we will specify all, and then x is equals to 1. So as I stated earlier in the previous videos, if we mention x is equals to 0, so 0 means specifying the columns, and if I am mentioning here as ones, that means the operation is going to happen with respect to the rows, all the rows in fact. Okay, so this is the way we will filter out the outliers. So let's run this cell now. Okay, so this cell has been run now. Okay, now next step is to check the number of observations in both the original as well as a new data set, which is the Boston clean data set we generated after outlier detection. Okay, so we will check the number of observations in both the data sets. So let's check for Boston data set. So Boston.shape. So we can see that there are 506 observations in the original data set, and now once we filtered out the outliers using this equation, okay, or using this command, let's check how many correct values are contained in this new data frame. So what this essentially with this command is doing is it is excluding all the outliers from the data set, and it will include all the correct values. Okay, the values which are not having any outliers. Okay, so let's run that. Boston clean dot shape, and let's run this cell. Okay, so now you can see that very well the number of observations got decreased, right? So here you can see the number of observations are now 415. So around about 91 observations are cleaned out. That means those 91 observations were having values associated with the outliers. Okay, so we cleaned our data set and we removed all the outliers, and the count of those outliers was 91. So 506 observations minus 415 equals to 91 observations. So those 91 outliers got removed from this data set now. Okay, so let's create few cells here. Okay, so now we saw that some outliers got removed. Now we will use another method which is interquartile range method to remove the outliers, and we will use the equation which we created earlier. Okay, so the equation which I am talking about is this one. Okay, so this equation, we'll make use of this equation. So here let me type outlier remove outliers using interquartile range method. Okay, so this is the method which I'm going to use. And again, what I'm trying to do here is we will basically create a data frame after filtering out all the observations. So let me name the new data frame as Boston IQR clean, and this data frame will contain all the values or all the rows which are not having any outliers. Okay, so here the data frame which I'm going to use is Boston clean. Okay, and in fact let me use Boston so Boston IQR or Boston clean. So for the sense of brevity, let me keep let's use Boston clean only. I could have used Boston IQR as well. It's this one, right? So it's one and same thing because both the data frames are having values or having the values associated with the original data set only, which is Boston data set. Okay, so then I will mention the equation which I've been using here. Okay, so here this is the equation which I'm using. Okay, and let me do one more thing here. And since I'm trying to filter out the rows, so let me create one more. So in the parenthesis, what I'm trying to do is, so this is the equation, and then dot any, and then x is equals to 1 again. So for all the rows, 1 specifies the rows. Okay, and so tilde sign act as a not relational operation. So we have and or not, right? These relational operators are there. So out of those, not is something which is a relational operation which handles all the values except the value which is not contained in the particular data set or any value. Okay, so this not relational operation filters out all the records which are not part of this equation, or this not relational operators filters out all the outliers essentially from this data set. So here tilde sign is acting as a not relational operation. Okay, so what I'm trying to say here is, so and or not, these are three relational operators, right? as a matter of exclusive OR is also there. So here this not relational operator is something which is depicting this tilde operation. Okay, so all the records which are not part of this equation. Okay, so those records are which records are those one? The outliers basically. So all the records which are outliers will be filtered out. Okay, so let me run this equation now. Okay, so it has been run now. Okay, I think I have done one mistake here. So yeah, I was thinking right. So this Boston clean data set is already a cleaned data set, right? So this data set doesn't contain any outliers right now. Okay, so we can't use this data set. Okay, Boston clean data set. What we can do is we can basically utilize this Boston IQR rather. Okay, so let me use that. Let me replace this Boston clean with Boston IQR, and see here it is very well, in this data frame is very well in correspondence with this and this. Okay, so I think we should use Boston IQR here. So let me rerun this cell once again. All right, so folks, this is it about this video, and to conclude, we learned about handling the outliers and correcting them from the perspective of cleaning the data in this particular video. Now here is the today's question. So which of the aforementioned techniques, that is interquartile range or z-score we discussed earlier, you think is the best from correcting the outliers perspective? So which of the two techniques do you think is the best one? Okay, so we would like to hear your comments, so please comment in the comment section given below. And if you are watching this video and you are not already a subscriber to our channel, consider clicking that little subscribe button. And in case you have already subscribed, then click on the bell icon to receive the notification whenever I will release a new video. So thanks for hanging out with us, guys. I will be covering next topic in the upcoming videos. So keep on watching.